Hey y'all, back with part 6. So, um, mind you, Candy shot the text in the group chat, right? So I'm putting two and two together, and I'm like, ain't this the same chick that my baby daddy told me about? So I sent back in the group chats. I was like, I'm not going. So Candice was like, why? And then Aisha texted a few minutes later. She was like, oh, you going? You know, and so I know knowing her, she's a stud, and then she try and come off as gangster, but she really not. I don't think she about that life, and she from Baltimore, so some of their women are a little aggressive, and then with her being a stud, come on now. But anyway, um, I could just tell, like she said it in a way like, bitch, I'm gonna make you go type shit. No, we don't do that type of shit around here. I don't play that. Ain't nobody gonna force me to do shit that I do not want to do. So they both, came up to me when we was in the back part of the warehouse. So they both come up to me asking me why I wasn't going, and I just said because I don't want to. And I was like, I don't know who Maria is, and they was like, yes you do, and I'm like, no I don't. Like, if I don't fuck with this person like that, or I never just really talk to them like that, bitch, I don't know them, and I really still don't even know them then if I fuck with them, or talk to them. So um I was like, I'm not going. So I go to break. Well, we all went to break. So I get a text from MS, which is, Mike Fresh or whatever. I get a text from him telling me that Candice and Aisha was talking about me. So, of course, I get mad because I'm like, it confirms to me that y'all hoes been talking about me. And, like, I want to fight at this point. But I'm like, I already know that's what they want, because the warehouse is a part of the airport, Irving Airport or whatever the fuck the airport is. So it's on federal grounds. So if you fight and the police be called, your ass going to jail. You getting some time. And I ain't got time for that. I ain't never been to jail. Don't want to go. None of that. So, um, so I tried to calm myself down before, going back out on the floor. And I don't know. Look, I'm trying to remember y'all as best as I can, everything, because this was like years ago. So, um, like I said, I was trying to calm myself down, and then I don't know what happened. I don't know if this is the point where, um, oh, so we leaving, like when we get ready to go back on the floor, we gotta wash our hands and we gotta put on gloves and all of this shit. So we only got I would say 5 minutes to supposedly use the restroom, do all this shit, and get back on the floor with all these people crowded in this one little washroom. So I'm the type of person, if I eat something, well, if I drink something, and of course we in a cold warehouse, so if I drink something, I gotta go to the restroom afterwards. It don't happen like while I'm sitting there, drinking it. It's like soon as I get up and start moving around, that's when I have to go pee. So I always go use the restroom before I go back. And then two, the women's restroom be crowded too, because everybody being there trying to, use the restroom and get up out of there so we can make it back on time, so they wouldn't scan our badges. Why they scan our badges? Honestly, I don't know. Because nobody really got in trouble for it. But they were scanning. But so I didn't make it within the time frame, right? So I would, and this is the first time that I had like experienced like feeling somebody's energy heavily like that. So my little Filipino friend, she like me and her, we always talk or whatever, and I had came up to her and I hugged her. And I knew something was wrong when I walked up to her because I could see it all over her face. And then when I hugged her, I felt it. And y'all, like, I literally was about to start crying. And she was too. So I'm like my body just was like, I'm like, damn. I'm already pissed off about my situation. And then I think also at that point in time, I was supposed to have received a call from the people from the hospital or whatever about my son's autopsy. So y'all know that put me in my feels even more. Because mind you, this is all right after me losing my baby. So sorry, y'all, I just went up into a place there. So I'm putting on my gloves. I asked her what's wrong. And then she was about to tell me. But she was like, we'll talk about it later. So I was like, okay, cool. And then so the manager that was at the door, his name is Smitty. And he's a white guy. He's a fucking asshole. He walks around like he can't be touched by nobody. And honestly, in that warehouse, he couldn't. It was like he had shit over these managers. But my thing is, nigga, it's some shit that I done heard about you from people in the warehouse. Like I told y'all, people would just come to me and tell me shit. So it's a lot that I know that has went on in that warehouse. So, and a lot of it has to do with people being unalived. So, well, just two situations that I know of that two people were unalived at that warehouse. One of them wasn't inside of the warehouse, but one of them was. So anyway, he was like, they get ready to close the door or whatever. He was like, they finna get ready to start scanning badges. So Angelica was like, no. And I'm like, I'm not worried about these motherfuckers scanning no badges. So y'all, I'm already pissed the fuck off. So I'm in I don't give a fuck mode at this point. So, we standing at the door, and he asking Angelica, like, Angelica is like right in front of me, y'all. So I don't know, something just took over me. I don't know what the fuck, but I feel like I wasn't myself in that moment. So he asked me for my badge. And he was asking both of us, let me scan your badge. And she trying to explain to him why she was late. And I just pushed her, y'all. And mind y'all, she's a little short lady. She's a little short lady. She probably like 4 foot something. I don't know. She was a little bit itty bitty. So I had pushed her through the door. I was like, girl, go on, he ain't got to scan your badge. And I walked through the door. And I'm putting on my earbuds because I'm trying to drown out the fucking noise so I can calm myself down. So another manager named Andrew, he come running in front of me, and he was like, "You need to go back because they need to scan your badge." And I was like, "Man, ain't nobody scanning my badge," like I said, because like at this point, I'm fucking fed up with everybody. So, he was like, he got in my face. So he was like, "They need your badge. You need to go back." And I looked at him. I was like, kept walking. I was still putting on my gloves and everything. So he was like, "Well, since you don't want to go back and get him your badge, let's go to the office." I was like, "Okay, cool. Let's go." And I don't know why, y'all, but we getting ready to get to the office, and my senior manager, Christine, comes out, and I just break the fuck down when I see her. Like, soon as I lay eyes on her, I just broke down crying. I'm like, what the fuck wrong with me? Like, thinking about this shit, I'm like, why is my emotions just like, but of course, I lost my son, so I'm still trying to cope and deal with it. And then on top of that, I'm angry about that situation because I know nothing was ever wrong with my baby. And then here y'all go fucking with me, right? So, me and her, we going, she, no, let's calm down. Let's go in the office, right? So we go in the office, and I think I started hyperventilating because I couldn't breathe. So we in the office, and she trying to calm me down. And I kid y'all not, it took me probably about 10 minutes or so to finally, catch my breath, because baby, I could not breathe. I was that fucking heated. I wanted to whoop both of their motherfucking asses. So she left out. She was like, "I'm gonna give you, a few minutes to, try and calm down." And I was like, "Oh no, I don't think I can calm down." So she brought me a bottle of water, and so I'm drinking the water, and it helped me, but it took a little minute. It was like probably like 5 minutes. Well, I wouldn't even say 5 minutes, like 2 minutes, and then I finally calmed down. And so in that moment, I made an excuse for them, and I was like, I'm just, I'm I'm going through a lot right now. I just lost my son, and they ended up calling me back, saying that the autopsy was ready, the autopsy report or whatever. So, she had asked me, and I feel like she knew that some shit had happened, but like I said, I took up for them in that moment. So, she was like, "Did something happen?" And I was like, no, I was just like, I'm going through a lot right now, and I'm still trying to work through this shit and then come to work at the same time in this stressful ass place with these stupid ass people. So she was like, well, she ended up allowing me to go in. Ooh. Bless me. So she allowed me to go into this prayer room. And I'm like, we got a prayer room? Now, mind y'all, if this room is accessible to people who have different, religious backgrounds and, have to pray certain times throughout the day, we should fucking know about this shit, right? Everybody coming into the warehouse should know about their prayer room. I never knew about this prayer room, and I had been there for a year and a half. So I'm like, okay, we got a prayer room. So I go and sit in the prayer room. She was like, you can stay in here until, it's time to go. So I sat in there. I was looking out the window. I was just sitting there, bitch, chilling, trying to calm myself down, gather my thoughts and all of it. Looking out the window. So it was time for me to get ready to go, and I walked back out on the floor to go get my stuff. And go put my reach truck on the charger. So as I'm walking back out on the floor, here come Candace. Yeah, yo, what's wrong? What happened? This. I looked at that bitch and kept walking. Girl, don't act like y'all all just motherfucking innocent, bitch. At this, I really want to knock you out, to be honest, but I'm gonna keep walking. So I just walked back to the back and got my stuff, and I went the fuck home. So everything was cool, right? For, I would say, about a week or so, or a couple of days. Come back to work, and this when all the shit just really started going down, right? So, mind you, like I said, we're not supposed to be wearing earphones, but we got everybody and their mama wearing earphones. Like I said, everybody and their mama wear earphones and listen to their music. And they have them, we'll hide them up under our like hoodies and hats and shit. Cause like I said, it's a cold warehouse. So our shit is hidden. Some people, they had a little light flashing on there so the manager could see the light flashing. So they get caught. But I worked in the back, and I was basically, pulling down pallets of like boxes and liners and shit for production. And then also, what was it called? Production, and then the auto store. Now, there was a girl, because like part of the auto store looped around the back part of where I would take the pallets out and stuff like that. So there was this girl, and she was Hispanic, white, or whatever. I don't know what the fuck she was, but she wasn't a woman of color. And she would wear her shit like boldly, like out in the open. You could see it. So whenever the safety manager would come out, and his name is Chris. So whenever he would come out on the floor, he'll walk up to her, hold conversations with her with these motherfucking earbuds in her ear. And then I seen there was one time he did warn her to take him out her ears or whatever. But my thing is, if it was us, people of color, and he seen that shit, we would have got a point, we would have got rolled up and all of that. She just got a motherfucking warning, and nigga, this wasn't the first time that I'm sorry. This wasn't the first time that you seen her with the earbuds in her ear. And so I'm like, if y'all gonna have a rule set in place for everybody, that shit needs to be enforced for every motherfucking body. Don't be letting anybody slide. But like I said, they got their picks. So they gonna let them motherfuckers do whatever they want to do, because one, they know what the fuck they be doing outside the warehouse. So if they don't allow them to do what the fuck they want to do, they gonna snitch on them. Same thing with the managers. So that's why I said what I said about Smitty having, stuff over a lot of the managers. And then too, he could get them fired. Like he had some kind of pull. And I believe it was, higher up pull. So anyway, after that situation with Candace and Aisha happened, boom, here come Chris fucking with me, right? So, like I said, I had stopped fucking with people, right? And this after that shit with Candace and Aisha, I wasn't hardly talking to nobody. But I would say maybe G and DeAndre. Them probably was the main two people that I was just really talking to like that. Like, it would be a few every now and then, you know, we'll have a little conversation, but it wasn't like it used to be. So I would be off on my, you know, sitting on my reach truck waiting on some work. Cause it was slow, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. The work was slow. Like, we would if auto store or production would order a lot of pallets, we'll get that shit, put, you know, bring them pallets down for them, line them bitches up, they come get their own pallets. Production, we'll run theirs out to them on the pallet jack or whatever. So anyway, like, I'm sitting on this aisle, I think it was like aisle 9 or 10, one of them. So I'm sitting on that aisle on my reach truck, and I'm looking at my phone like everybody else. And I had my earbuds in, of course. And craziest part, like, okay, we have cameras in the warehouse, right? So Chris comes out this closet that's like right where I'm at, where I'm parked at. And I looked up, and mind y'all, I'm not in the moment. I didn't realize the closet he came out of was, nobody really ever went into that closet but the cleaning lady. And I barely seen her go in there. So what the fuck was you doing in that closet, sir? And I think I asked his ass too. He was like, oh, I was getting a vest for somebody. Nah, bitch, you was watching me because you was pinpointing some shit. Y'all was ready to fuck with me. Like, y'all was waiting on a good motherfucking time to try and bring me out my motherfucking character. And that's what it was. Because they seen that they couldn't any other time. So they was like, okay, we're going to use her vulnerability of her losing her child to try and bring her out of character. And so, I ain't gonna lie, it worked. Yeah, bitch, y'all got that other side that you didn't want to see. So, basically, I was sitting there singing a little bit. And then he came out the closet and he was smiling. And he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I said, nothing, singing, you know, just waiting on some work to come on a gun, this, that, and the third. And then he was like, do you got your earbuds on? Now, how the fuck you know that? Because somebody told him. So, I said, yeah, I do. And then he was like, well, you know you're not supposed to have those on. I said, well, sir, I said, I know we not supposed to. I said, but the only reason that I do have these on is because I'm trying to, you know, stay in a positive mindset because I just lost my son. And that was it. And he was like, oh, okay. He was like, I didn't know that. Yes, the fuck you did. Everybody in that motherfucking warehouse knew that Yashira lost her motherfucking child. So, you know, he did give me a warning. I ain't gonna lie about that. But at the same time, bitch, don't come for me. I don't give a fuck. Don't come for me. So, that day ended. So, and I think this was my Friday when it happened. So, come back to work or whatever. And that's when all hell broke loose. So, mind you, when I was off from work, I had went to this woman conference. And y'all, this conference, it really changed my life, y'all. it was a beautiful experience. That's all I'm gonna say. And I come back to work, and because I think I had told what's the name? What was his name? G and DeAndre and them. I think I had told them about it, and so um they had asked. I'm sorry, y'all. So they had asked me about it. Oh, and then at the point in time, it was this other guy, and his name was Guy. So I think I had told him about it too. And I should have kept all of this shit to myself. But anyway, so like I said, I was, friendly as fuck and naive. So like I said, I was only talking to certain ones though. And I'm telling them, about the conference. And they just sitting back and seeing how happy I was about it, right? So that's when the shit went down again. So the next day, I come into work, and mind y'all, safety don't even come out on the floor early in the morning like that. Never have. From the time that I've worked there to the time that I left. The motherfuckers never came out on the floor that early in the morning. But this particular day, he decided to come out early. And I think I was running some stuff down to where I was, where I used to, the part of the department I used to work in. So I come back because when I went down there, I dropped the pallet off, and then I picked up some broken pallets to bring to the back. So as I'm coming through the door, Chris is standing at the desk at the back, the inventory desk. That's what the fuck it was. I'm trying to think of the name. He was standing back there on the desk, with his arms crossed, right? So mind y'all, I'm happy as fuck. And I was a little bit hot too. So, but I still had my hood over my head, and I had my earbuds in, yes, of course. So I'm singing, and I'm listening to my gospel music. So y'all, I'm just jolly in the motherfucker. I'm jolly the motherfuckers. So these motherfuckers was pissed off, right? So I dropped as I passed him, he called out my name. Now mind y'all, I heard him. I had my music up loud. I heard him over my music call me. But I kept going. Cause in that moment I already fucking knew. Here we go with the shit. So I dropped I'm in the midst of dropping the pallets off. And he comes up to my reach truck. And he was like, "You didn't hear me calling you?" And I looked at him and I was like, "Yeah, I heard you calling me, but I knew the reason why you was calling me." And then, so he was like, "Give me your badge." And I was like, "No." And then he was like, "I know you ain't got them earbuds in your ear." And I'm like, I lift up my bunny, because I had my bunny on. So I lifted up my bunny. I was like, "I sure do." Look, I was with all the motherfucking shits. So I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "Who your manager?" And I said, "Dalton." And then he was like, "Who your other manager?" I said, "Christine." I said, "What, you want me to call him for you?" He was, "Nah, I got it." So something, some work popped up on the gun. So I drive the fuck off so I can go do my work. So mind y'all, I didn't pay attention to where the pallet was. So I'm on the aisle, but I wasn't going to the right position. So I didn't pass the spot where I was supposed to go. And then when I got further down on that aisle, I realized, I was like, okay, I'm in the wrong spot. So I turned back around, and y'all, the whole time he just standing by, walking behind me, yelling, give me your badge. And then so I'm doing the little pics or whatever that we had for auto store. So I'm getting these things and I'm putting them on my pallet, and he's steady hollering, give me your badge, give me your badge, give me your badge, right? I said, sir, I'm not giving you my badge. I said, you already know my name. You already know my managers. If you got an issue with me, go take it up with them. But I said, I'm not giving you my badge. And I have a right to not give you my badge. So he was just still standing there talking. I don't even know what the man was doing or saying. I really don't care. So I got back on my reach truck, and I took the pallet and I dropped it out where I was supposed to drop it out. And so I don't know, I just drove back around, and I seen him standing. He was still standing at the inventory desk, and he was standing there really like big boss down, like, I'm finna get this bitch in trouble type shit, right? So like I said, I parked my reach truck on the aisle, and I walked up to him. I didn't like get in his face or anything, so we had like space between him, but I walked up to, close to him, and I told him, I said, look, I said, I don't know what you trying to do. And I said, well, y'all, no, I didn't say that. I said, see, what y'all like to do is y'all like to dim people light. And I'm not finna allow you to dim my motherfucking light. And then I said, you know what? I'll go get Christine for you. So I took off my vest. I walked down the aisle. That was a violation. I didn't give a fuck. I really didn't. Because we're not supposed to walk down the aisle without a manager. And then we're not supposed to be walking through the warehouse without our vest on. Which, like I said, I don't give a fuck. So I walked to the office. I get, because like I said, where the managers be at, they call it the bullpen. So first I went to HR to see if she was in there. Nobody answered the motherfucking door. Nobody is never in HR. Bitches, calm down. They be, I'm talking about, these motherfucking women will leave work, go get their nails done, and then come back to work. But this is supposed to be HR. So anyway, I went to HR. Nobody went answering the door, so I go to the bullpen. Nobody still answering the door. So I said, well, that calls for me to go back out on the floor. So as I'm about to get ready to turn the corner, here comes a coworker. Damn, what was his name? He was an older guy, and he was crazy as I don't know what. And he came up to me, and he was trying to talk to me or whatever, tell me it was his birthday. And I always talk to this guy or whatever, and because like I said, I was talking to everybody, just being me. And he was telling me, what he did for his birthday, and how he was mad at his kids because of something. I guess the gifts they got him for his birthday or something like that. So he was mad. So I'm laughing at him, and I was like, well, I'm trying to find Christine, so I'm gonna talk to you later. So I go back out on the floor, and I think I was walking back to my reach truck. So I seen him and Christine on the aisle talking to each other. So I go down there, and I'm walking up, and I'm hearing him saying, oh, well, she was doing this and she doing that. But I couldn't really hear what he was saying that I was doing. And I just said, I sure was. I sure did. And this time I walked up to him, And she, so Christine said, no, let's not do this here. Let's go do this in the office setting. So I was like, okay. I said, bet. I beat Christine to the office. Y'all got me fucked up. Y'all finna leave me the fuck alone. So, I beat her to the office. Then I wait on her to get there. So we walk into the office, right? How the fuck is he in the office already? So he in the office already. I don't know how the fuck he got in there, but he got in there. So we walk in the office, and she look into some little offices, you know, see if anybody was in there. And we go into the office. So she was like, you know, she asking me what's going on. And y'all, like, I'm being honest. Like, I didn't give a fuck. I really did. So I was telling her, basically, like I said, if y'all got a certain rule and set in place, it needs to be enforced for everybody, not just certain groups of people, this, that, and the third. And I told her, you know, about what happened with me and Chris. And she was like, well, if you feel like there was a racist incident, you know, report it to corporate HR. I said I sure will. And then I also told her about the situation with Candace and Aisha. And then I also told her, I said, from this day forward, it's gonna be a change in this warehouse. And I said, if y'all don't like it, that's not my problem if y'all don't. But I said it will be a change in this warehouse. So she looked at me, she like, what? Like, I'm telling y'all, I don't know what the fuck was going on. But yeah, like I said, I was fed the fuck up. So, cause I done seen so many people, you know, get fired because their life is, you know, they excelling in life, bruh, and they people of color for the most part. They either get fired because, you know, like they want to keep you under control at the same time, but they also don't want to see you happy. They also don't want to see you excelling in life. So they will do anything they can to try and dim your light, to stop your money from coming in. Cause we was making pretty good money at HelloFresh. I ain't gonna lie, we was, you know. And then too, you know, we all working at the same place, and I'm a single parent. I got 3 kids, was about to have 4, and mind y'all, I'm putting food, like I'm buying shit for my house, cause I'm taking care of my house. And then when I was dating Michael, I was buying shit for him at his apartment, buying him food, you know, to put in his refrigerator. And then also we eat out, cause I wasn't doing no motherfucking cooking, cause the bitch wanted to complain about my cooking, but he was sitting up there slurping and licking the plate and all kind of shit. But but anyway, you know, they want to dim people's motherfucking light, especially if you people of color. They do not want to see you motherfucking happy. And I ain't talking about just the employees. I'm talking about these motherfucking managers and the people higher up in the office. Like, they all they do is sit back and they watch them fucking cameras to pinpoint who doing what. They send they little minions out, which was Candace, Aisha, Mimi, all them folks. They send they little minions out to get information about you and report it back to the managers. So that's what they was doing with me. So so all of that was happening. And so I go back out on the floor, and they like, you good? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And then somebody was like, oh, I thought you had got fired. Why was that the first motherfucking thing you go to? Why you thought what you wanted, you must wanted me to get fired from that situation. That was the whole plan. That was the whole plan to get me fired. Because I knew too much about the fucking warehouse and the things that goes on in that warehouse. So, also, I'm gonna put this in part 7.